What we don't have the right to do is ignore a resume that's pretty damn close to impeccable in terms of his behavior and commitment to excellence. There's a lot of things. When my boy Champ calls up and he's critical of LeBron, the player, where you're on the court and you see certain things that you may not like about his game, there's nothing wrong with that. Even Champ could be a bit excessive, but there's still nothing wrong with it. When there's something wrong is when you ignore the way he takes care of his body, the way he's in peak condition, the way he's always ready to play, the way where he can walk out on the court and put in 35 minutes, 40 minutes without blinking. When you consider the level of physical excellence predicated off of physical commitment, not just to his craft, but to his conditioning, his body, and what have you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is some unparalleled stuff. Tell me somebody in the league who looks in better shape than LeBron James when LeBron James is healthy. We know the groin injury sidelined him Christmas Day and he wasn't the same. But who looks, other than Russell Westbrook maybe, and even that's debatable, the fact of the matter is when you look at LeBron, LeBron shows up every year ready to go. To sit up there and treat him like he doesn't care, see, that's where we're crossing the line. We really, really are crossing the line. We're reaching. And we're allowing headlines about him preceding his arrival to manipulate our coverage of him once he arrives. With all due respect to Walt Clyde Frazier, you don't even have a license to criticize the Knicks. You can't criticize your own team, but you can criticize LeBron. Like that? LeBron deserves criticism sometimes, mind you. Wanting to control the narrative and all that other stuff, but he didn't deserve that.
Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
Job today at Indeed.com/hire. Back to the phones we go. Before we get back to the phones, though, I want to transition to a different subject. Dave Getteleman, the general manager for the New York Giants, spoke up about trading Odell Beckham Jr. and keeping Eli Manning. Listen to what this man had to say.
This narrative that Eli's overpaid and can't play is a crock. I'm telling you. If you turn around and you take a look at what he's making right now and look around the league and see what quarterbacks are making, if you were in my shoes, you'd say, you know what, there really is not. The way he finished the season and what he's making, there really wasn't a decision to make. Odell is a tremendous talent, making him a valuable asset. With football being the ultimate team game, we turned that fact into 3 assets at the very least. Some have questioned why we signed Odell and then traded him. As I said publicly twice, we didn't sign him to trade him, but obviously things changed. And frankly, what changed is another team made an offer we couldn't refuse.
You got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. I'm not qualified the way other NFL aficionados are to tell you how ignorant Dave Gettleman sounds. But they did. They might have done it in less of a direct fashion, rather. But they definitely did, nevertheless. Adam Schefter came on this show last week and said there were several teams that said they had better offers on the table than what Dave Gettleman got. Adam Schefter questioned, why make the deal at this particular moment in time? Didn't even bring up the particulars of the deal. Said, who doesn't wait till right before the NFL draft to make those deals? Everywhere you turn, Fox Sports, ESPN, Pro Football Talk, the list goes on and on. No one No one applauded Dave Gettleman for making this deal. But he's the smartest man in the building, huh? Let's call it what it is. Dave Gettleman got his job as the general manager for the New York Giants because he had a relationship with Mr. Morrow and Tisch and the Giants brass. And you know what proof of that is? That he hired Pat Shurmur, who had a 10-23 record as a head coach. What the hell did he do to get the head coach job for the New York Giants? One of the most storied franchises in the history of the NFL. What did he do? They got a Super Bowl championship with Eli Manning and Mario Manningham. They got a Super Bowl championship with Eli and Plexico Burress and Michael Strahan and the crew. They had a Super Bowl championship with Lawrence Taylor, with Jeff Hostetler as a quarterback. They had a Super Bowl championship with Phil Simms and Lawrence Taylor and Harry Carson and the crew. New England Patriots got 6 rings. Pittsburgh Steelers got 6 rings. Dallas Cowboys got 5 rings. How many got 4? This is one of the greatest franchises in the history of the National Football League. And this man, with that being an opening, went out and hired Pat Shurmur. Pat Shurmur. Now, had he been an offensive coordinator that you gave a first chance to, I can understand that. The man's record was 10-23, one game in Philadelphia. The other 3 seasons in Cleveland, or 2 rather, whatever it was. Pat Shurmur. You trade Odell Beckham Jr., but you keep Eli Manning. It cost you $17 million, essentially, to get rid of Odell Beckham Jr. You paying Eli Manning $17 million. $5 million roster bonus, $11.5 million in base salary, another $500,000 for working out. And this is what he says. And then guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Guess what the latest news you're hearing? You're hearing he might not even draft Dwayne Haskins if available. Giants might not even get a quarterback. They not only think Eli's got another year in him, they think Eli's got another 2 or 3 years in him. I would say something to Pat Shurmur, but he's been through enough. And on a personal level, I can relate. So because of that, I'm going to be kind. I'm not talking about Dave Gettleman, rather. I'm sorry, I meant Dave Gettleman. I'm not talking about Dave Gettleman, the person. I'm talking about Dave Gettleman, the football man. I'm going to leave it alone now. I'm going to leave it alone. Joe, you're live with Stephen A. What's up?
Hey, Stephen A., thanks for taking my call. Huge fan, man. You cracked me up, the Giants. That kills me.
Go ahead, man.
Just real quick on Mike Trout. I agree with everything that's been said. I just wanted to add a couple fun facts to it.
Right.
You know, Machado, $300 million. Harper, $330 million. Why is Trout worth $100 million more than Bryce Harper? Because his career WAR is greater than Harper's and Machado's combined.
Stop right there. Stop right there. I acknowledged that at the beginning of the show. I mean, this is a guy whose WAR number is better than Ty Cobb and Mickey Mantle, Barry Bonds, everybody. We get that. What I'm saying, what I asked the question about is how do you quantify him being worth $100 million more? Because that statistic alone doesn't mean you're worth $100 million more than a Bryce Harper or Manny Machado. You see what I'm saying? I'm not debating that he's worth more. I'm saying, how do you come to the number that it's $100 million more? That's what I'm asking.
100%, and I wish I could speak intelligently to that. I think Jeff Passan did some great reporting there. I think when you look at the fact that you're tearing up the last 2 years of his current contract, you're giving him 10 for $365.
Yeah,
I think that right there makes it comparable when you look at what the market is willing to pay him. You're worth what the market's willing to pay you.
That's true.
And you know, I think reasonable minds can disagree about whether baseball is a team sport.
Hold it, but there's no disagreement here. I just wanted comprehension. You see what I'm saying? Like, for example, you have certain allocated down. When you hear the exorbitant numbers, right, that are given to NBA players, for example, okay? You know why you don't debate it? Because that's the max. So LeBron got 153 million because that was the max. Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry got 207 million because that was the max. You see my point? But in baseball, you can fluctuate. They can throw out any number they want. So how do you quantify? That's all I was asking.
100%. My last point, Steve, I think people may ask Mike Trout why you want to spend the rest of your years with the Angels. Let's go back and think about just real quickly that they took a chance on drafting him. They extended him before they needed to the first time. They're giving him this deal before they needed to the second time. They care about Mike Trout. When Manfred came out after the All-Star break and said, Mike Trout's great, but I wish he could market baseball better. The Angels were staunch in their defense of him and said he does it the right way. And a lot of people, including experts on your show, came out and said that's how you defend your player.
Absolutely,
So
you're absolutely right.
A lot of investment in Mike Trout, and I think when you're on pace, when you've been the best at every year of your age, and then you're on track to be the best who has ever done it.
You're right. You're right. I gotta go. I appreciate the call, but the other thing, you left out one other thing. It don't hurt to be living in Southern California. Anaheim is beautiful. It's a beautiful place to live. 888-SAY-ESPN. It's 888-729-3776. Back with your calls to close out the show in a minute. You know what never goes out of style? Surprising a friend or loved one will buy one, get one free multicolored roses, bouquets for $29.99 from 1-800-Flowers.com. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. 888-SAY-ESPN. You're listening live to Stephen A. ESPN Radio, ESPN News.